Hi guys, this is Katja with Creators Image Studio. Today I'm reprising my Still in Love explosion box, which you may remember and which I showed you a while ago. For a lovely lady contacted me and wanted to give her husband such an explosion box for their 30-year wedding anniversary. So I will mainly point out the differences today. So let's start off with the top. What I did here is I put the date of their wedding in the corner. Now this requires some, well, I don't know how to call this, some fussy printing as it were. So you have to be very exact in your measurements when you are printing this, because most printers do not do these very minimal margins, so you have to trick that. And well, you know these letters from the first edition, but I did use some other paper. For the first edition was meant specifically for a man, and this lady said while she adored this paper, it was meant for both her husband and herself, so there were some flowers allowed, as it were. So this reminded me sort of a bridal theme, which is why I chose it. The outside is the more dark outside that you may recognize from that first edition. So let's open it up. And here we go. So another difference is there's pictures in this one, which the lady asked me to do. So I will point out the different ways that I used these pictures. But first, let me start off with this micro treasure chest, which is also sort of the same but different. So what is the same is the copper colored base. So I painted it, and the differences are the papers, the specific papers that I used. But for the most part it's very comparable to the first edition. So very cute. I keep finding these very, very cute. So the first two pictures, so method number one, as it were, to use your pictures is just put them on the first layer of your explosion box, so that when it opens it immediately showcases these pictures. I rounded the corners with a corner chomper and then used some stickles to decorate these corners on both pictures. So that's the first way. The second way is to hide your picture in a photo flip or fold out. So there you go. So this is their wedding picture, very cute. And I put some sentiments here, both in Dutch and love is in English, and left some plain tags for the lady to put her own sentiments. And here, this is sort of the same as the first edition of this explosion box. Again, a list of things that make you special, so she can write down her own compliments for her husband. So this is method number two. So hide the picture in a fold out. The third method is to put your picture in a booklet. So here's a cute little booklet that I made. Very simple, using some scrap mats. I die cut this label here, stamped it with "You Make Me Smile," and then framed it with some stickles. And then when you open it up, it has a picture. In this case of their little Dachshund puppy called Diesel. Very cute, lovely picture this. So always make sure to cut the picture here right in the fold line, for otherwise you will damage your picture. So this is the third method, to put a picture in your explosion box and then put it in a pocket here. Okay, so other things that are new, I used a tag stamp. So I stamped this tag, then fussy cut it, and first I inked the paper, because this was the back of the design paper, which was actually white. So first I inked it up with some distress ink to give it sort of a craft color, then stamped the label, fussy cut it, and then used some glossy accents here and some stickles here. So these tag stamps, they are by Viva Decor and they are great. This is also new. I created sort of a tag topper, which I did by using a corner die. So picture a square like this, and then using a corner die, and then turning that into a tag topper. So this is also a new way to create your tags. Now here is a booklet. This is not new, but I thought I'd show you this poem that I found because it's a lovely poem. I did not write it myself. I don't know who the author is, but it says, "You're my light, my dark, the stars in the sky. You're my ups, my downs, the reason I try," which I thought was a lovely sentiment. So I put that, printed that, made it into a booklet, and then left this plain so the lady could either do a picture here or write her own personal message to her beloved husband. Now she also told me that they both loved the sea, so what I did here is print a sentiment. So this is printed, not stamped, so I chose my own font and found this sentiment somewhere. "I love you more than all the fish in the sea," so there's a reference to the sea. Then I backed it up with a thank you cut apart. This is actually by Studio Light and their Summer at the Beach paper, which I thought was a great way to incorporate the sea and the beach into this explosion box and still keep the same color theme as you see. So here she can write her own message or even put a picture or some such. And then I die cut a little starfish here, which also had some embossed patterns here that I inked with some distress ink to highlight them. And I stamped "Being together is the best gift of all," using some white chalk ink. And then here is the doorlet piece that you may remember from the first explosion box, the first iteration of this explosion box specifically. And this says in Dutch, "You are my everything," which is very romantic. And then I incorporated some roses because, well, this was suggested by the lady. Perhaps you can use some roses. So I thought about it and I decided to print the roses and then print the text, layer it over it. And then here I framed the entire label with some liquid pearls, bronze colored, and used the nail brads to add a little bit of masculinity. And this closes with a magnet. And if you turn it around to look at the other side of this matching page here, there's a tag, and then here is a little tag. And it says, "Liefde vermenigvuldigt zich als je het deelt," in Dutch. Thought I'd let you hear that for once. And it means something like, "Love multiplies itself when you share it." And the wordplay in Dutch is that the word for share here is the same word you would use for divide, dividing numbers, so multiplying and dividing. Well, anyway, so in Dutch that definitely works. And then last but not least, this looks a lot like the first iteration. There is some small difference, especially in the color and also in the text. "Still in love," it says here. And again, printed it, stamped around it, backed it up with some cardstock and fussy cut it. So it's not difficult at all, and I especially love stamps that you can turn into tags or labels like this one. And it's held with a peg. So yeah, this was my second edition of the Still in Love explosion box. It seems to have become quite popular, I think because of the papers. They are very special indeed. It is a lovely design by DCWV, Die Cuts with a View, and it's an older collection, so I think it's maybe a bit hard to come by. I hope you found some inspiration to incorporate your pictures into explosion boxes and to incorporate some sentiments and some die cuts and have it be both masculine and feminine at the same time. So please let me know what you think, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!